Okay. Okay, are we all there? Do we all have the page in front of us? Okay. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're on dreams. Okay. Dreams and everything that you need to know about dreams. Okay, we did last week. Anybody have any thoughts about Bar Hedia, our favorite guy? Bar Hedia, the guy who they split in two. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Because he needed money, he wanted money. A lot of questions around that. But we're going to get into now on page 56. You see 56b1 there. More dream interpretations. So we're talking about Ben Dama. Do you see it right there on the page?
Yeah.
Ben Dama, the son of the sister of Rabbi Yishmael, asked Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Yishmael was a very great sage. He was one of the 10 martyrs that were killed by the Roman government. They see he could do, like, he went out of his body, went up to heaven. They wanted to know, the Romans are coming, we can get our Jedis together and do our Jedi stuff and take on these guys. But we need to know if this is a decree or to fight them or not, right? And Rabbi Shmuel went up to heaven and he came down and he said, it's a decree. And so therefore that's why everything went the way it went. And it was a decree that the Romans were going to come and they were going to destroy the second temple and everything like that. Rabbi Shmuel was supposed to be extremely beautiful. Just a little background who Rabbi Shmuel was, okay? Extremely beautiful face. As a matter of fact, so beautiful that, so pretty. He was pretty, okay? That I think it was the Caesar's daughter, or the Caesar's wife, I don't remember, saw him and was a little bit taken, like, totally blown away. And the Caesar sees it and says, oh, you like his face? Okay. So they peeled off his face while he was alive, okay? And all the way up until the place where his tefillin rest, the person's tefillin, and when he got to the parts of the tefillin, he let out a scream and then died. And they preserved his face. It's in the Vatican, actually. Down in the archives of the Vatican. I don't know what it's going to look like now, okay, after a few thousand years. I don't know what preservative they had, but they used to have his face, and every 7 years, because he was like such a beautiful face, the face of Yaakov, a descendant of Jacob, they would have paraded in the marketplaces. They would have a lame person, right? And they would put that mask on his face, and they would have a Roman soldier. He would have to carry a Roman soldier through the marketplaces, and they would call before him that here's Esav and here's Yaakov and here's Jacob. In other words, we have defeated Jacob. Okay? And anyways, just to let you know who Rabbi Yishmael is, okay? It's not just some guy, okay? So anyways, Dama, the son of the sister of Rabbi Yishmael, asked Rabbi Yishmael to interpret his dream, and he says, Ra'itzi shnei lechaye shenashru. In my dream, I saw both my jaws had fallen away. Now, I want to know what's two jaws. I thought it's one jaw. No? One side? Or this is also called a jaw. The top part is also a jaw. Okay? So it says, I dreamed that I saw both my jaws had fallen away. You'd think that's really a terrible thing. You better get something, But here, obviously, this is what it's about. These Gemorahs are about the twist. Okay? You got to use your powers of perception. And what does he say? This indicates that 2 heads of Roman battalions have plotted evil things against you, and they have died. Okay? So look at the note 2 here. The jaws signify the mouth and its power of speech. In line with this, their removal was taken as a sign that those who spoke against Ben Dama had died. Okay? So obviously, he hooked it up to a speech thing, and the 2 battalions of Romans that were coming against him are gone. By the way, though, they say if a person has a dream, and then we've probably spoken about this before, that if a tooth falls out, you fast for it. But if it's a tooth with jaws, that's a good thing. Okay? That means your enemies will be removed from you. But if it's just teeth, so that's not a good sign. And even on the Sabbath, according to the law, the Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law, a person has to fast if he has a dream that his tooth falls out. okay, or teeth fall out. The Gemara relates a series of seemingly frightening dreams that were interpreted reassuringly by Rabbi. Bar Kapara said to Rabbi, in my dream I saw that my nose had fallen off. Wow, that's heavy. Okay? So Rebbe applied to him this. So how do you connect this? What are you going to do, Rebbe? How are you going to get out of this one? The nose falls off, you know? You can interpret it if I just would ask you, what do you think? You go like, nose is like smell. You can't smell anymore. Your smell will be taken away. You won't taste your food because if you can't smell, you can't taste the food. Who knows what kinds of things you could come up with, okay? So Rebbe replied to him, Charon af nistalek mimcha. This indicates that you have been threatened by anger. His wrath has now been lifted from upon you, meaning the heavenly realm, okay, because the word Charon, af, usually is interpreted as anger, but af also means nose. Usually when a person gets angry, their nostrils flare. Usually that's the anger, right? So it's called Charon af. So if a person dreamt that his nose fell off, that's a good sign because it means no more anger, because usually the nose is associated with anger. Okay? Again, Bar Kapara further said to Rebbe, Raisi shnei yadai shenechtechu. Unbelievable. Very scary. In my dream, I saw that my 2 hands had been severed. You go, whoa, that's not a good sign. But look at this. He said to him, no, this indicates that you have no need for the labor of your hands anymore. Isn't that cool? Okay? You will be wealthy and will have no need to toil to earn a living. Okay?
Now, is he paying to get these dreams?
No, this is Rebbe. This is not Bar Hedia. This is the Rebbe. This is the rabbi doing his move.
Now, let me ask you this: is this hands and all this other stuff? That's across for everybody? Or
Yes, it is, because I'm going to bring to you, God willing, I'm going to bring to you some texts next week. I want to finish these Gemaras first, but there's actually a book, a siddur. It's a very special prayer book, okay, written by Yaakov Emden. There's this, it's 2 volumes, and it's this thick because he goes through every single thing that you do in the prayer book, including if you have a bad dream, what do you do? Okay? And it has a lists. You have this, and it tells you what all the dreams mean to this day. You could use these. These apply to this day, for the most part. Some things you can't find, some things that are books where they wrote down, all the rabbis wrote down, you saw this, you saw this, you saw this, and usually it's along the same lines. Okay?
Where do we get that from?
Right here. This is it. Oh, I'm going to share it with you, but there's no...
You can't buy it?
It's in Hebrew.
Oh.
Sorry, no... Maybe you can look it up, Google it, and we'll see. Okay? So in any case, they do apply. Because you know why? Once the rabbis used their mouths and said, this is what this dream means, boom. That's what it means.
These guys got some bad dreams.
King David never had a good dream. But no, these are good dreams. You can imagine the guy coming to the rabbi, Rabbi, I had a dream my 2 horns were severed.
Exactly.
And the guy goes, no problem. You don't need to work anymore, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I need a dream like that.
Okay?
No, but he still ends up without hands. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it just means of course your hands are not going to be removed physically. It's not literal. It's not literal. It means you don't need to use your work of your hands for a parnas anymore. Look at the next one. Bar Kapara said to him, I saw my 2 legs were cut off. Oy vavoy. Oh my gosh. He says, no. Amarle, he says, Al susa tarochev. You're going to be riding on a horse. You don't need to use your legs to walk around anymore. In other words, you're going to have a Maserati. Okay? Lamborghini. Okay? That's what they had in those times. They didn't have it. So you had a horse, which you have no need to walk from place to place. Okay? You'll have a ride. Bar Kapara then related, in my dream I saw that they said to me, Ba'adar misas, In Adar, in the month of Adar, you will die. V'Nisan lo chazis, and you will not see the month of Nisan. Wow, that's kind of scary. It's totally freaky. What do you say to that? Okay. So he says here, right, because in the month of Adar is always the month before the month of Nisan. The month of Nisan is where Passover is. Adar is where Purim for Passover. So how does he do this? What does he say? Right? He said to him, this indicates that you will die in glory. But Adrusa Adar, this also has a different meaning, the real meaning of Adar, which means what? Glory. You'll die in glory. V'lo asis lidei nisayon. The word Nisan also has the same root of nisayon, which means tested. And you will not come to be tried by temptation. Okay? In other words, you're going to die in glory, and you won't fall by temptation. Nisayon. You won't have a nisayon, a test. Okay? So in other words, everybody dies. Everybody dies, right? David Bowie dies, right? Leonard Nimoy, right? We all leave this world. Better make use of it, right? Thank God. Okay? We have the Torah. So that's how he interpreted. He used the language of Adar and he used the language of Nisan as two different things. Adar means glory in the Hebrew, and Nisan is Nisayon, so you will die in glory and not need it and not have a test. Sounds awesome. Now, the Gemara relates an episode in which Rabbi Yishmael interpreted a number of dreams. Okay, there's Rabbi Yishmael again. So Amar le Hahut Saduki le Rabbi Yishmael, a certain Sadducee, right? Saddukim are people who only believed in the written law. They did not believe in oral law. Okay? I think they call them Karaites now.
Karaites.
Yeah?
Oh, so
they only believe in written law, and they don't believe in anything from the oral tradition. Okay? In other words, when it says write a sign on your hand, so I saw a guy did this, and a frontlet between the eyes. I saw him take a piece of leather, right, with a big pen, right, on a piece of leather, and he tied it right here on his own, and he says, this is my tefillin. Right? I don't know what he put, some kind of 10 Commandments on here, whatever it was. And then he says, this is it. Here's my phylacteries. This is my tefillin. Sign on between my eyes. It's literal. Took it real literal. Okay? So anyways, this certain Sadducee once said to Rabbi Yishmael, I saw in my dream that I was pouring oil into olives. And so Rabbi Yishmael said to him, Ba'al imo. He has evidently cohabited with his mother. Okay? So in other words, he overheard the guy interpreting a dreams, and he says this guy sleeps with his mother. How do you connect those? Okay, you have to look at note 8. Addressing the Sadducee in the third person, Rabbi Yishmael told him that the dream reveals he committed incest with his mother. Oil is naturally harbored within the olive. Hence, if an olive symbolizes a mother, its oil symbolizes her child, that which grew within her womb. Feeding oil back to the olive, then, would represent the unnatural reversal of incestuous union. Okay? Nailed him. Okay? Boom. Okay? What did the guy say after that?
Did he deny? Maybe he denied.
No, I don't think so, because we're going to go here. Another one, okay? Amarle, the Sadducee then said to him, right? In my dream, I saw that I plucked a star out of the sky. Here's like nice, real beautiful dreams, right? Oil on olives. And then you got plucking a star out of the sky. How beautiful. But Rabbi Yishmael says to him, no, this indicates that you've kidnapped an Israelite. Okay? Right? Star. The Jewish people are compared to stars. They have their certain place in the sky. To take it out of the sky, that means you've moved an Ishmael, unwarrantedly from his place. So you kidnapped a Jew. What's going to happen? Where are the authorities here? That's what I would like to know. Okay? Amarle, he further said to him, Chazai debilati lekochvam. I saw, in my dream, that I swallowed a star. Rabbi Yishmael said to him, this shows that you have sold the Israelite you kidnapped and consumed the money you received for him. The Sadducee then said to him, wow, okay, I saw in my dream, I saw that my eyes were touching one another. Rabbi Ishmael said to him, he has cohabited with his sister. Okay, bo al achoso. Okay, here, look, note 10, right? The kissing of two eyes, which are twins of one another, was taken to represent the sexual union of two siblings. Okay? This is how he brought it down, man. Unbelievable. Now, is it because of the dream that he says it? Or he knew it happened because he could read it on his forehead? You know? A lot of the times they can smell what a person did. The Arizal, the famous 16th century Kabbalist, the Ari, Rabbi Yitzchak Lurie, would be able to look on the forehead of a person and see what sins they did. Right? That's why they called him the Ari, which means lion, because people would see him coming down the street and they run away like a lion because they don't want him looking at their forehead, right? And one time a guy came to him because he wanted to know, and he sat with the Arizal and he says, it says that you could tell, like, you know, what people do, wrongdoings on their forehead. I want you to look on my forehead and tell me, am I guilty of anything? And he did that, and he says, you have a chashash gezel. Meaning, like, there's a suspicion of gezel there. Thievery. Thievery. Gezel. Thievery. Stealing. He says, you got a little an element of stealing.
That's
Element. So the guy's like, what? I never stole from anybody. That's impossible. He goes through all of his records of all of his books and everything like this, and he's going and he's trying to record this guy, you know. Nowhere did he ever see himself even cutting a corner. Okay? Finally, he had no other choice, but he went and he put all of his workers, because he had a factory, he had all of his workers, and he put coins on the table, and he says, if anybody thinks that I stole anything, or I shortchanged anybody here, you come now and you take. Right? And the one little old woman came, and she went and she ended up taking a coin. And they found out later that this woman, she had a high degree of education of her skill. So she felt that she needed really to be paid on this pay scale and not this pay scale. So she came and she took, because he demanded it. Right? And then he went back to the Arizal. And he was clean. Okay? So Rabbi Ishmael, who's also on a very high, these guys know what these guys are doing. They smell it. They see it. They can see the soul. So that whether he's using the dream interpretation, saying, I can tell you did this, because two eyes touching each other, how would you come to such a conclusion? Of all the things you can interpret, you slept with your sister, you maggot. Okay?
I think I stopped asking him what these things are.
Yeah, well, that's another question. What's with this guy?
Yeah.
It's like, hi, he's my neighbor. I'm knocking the door. Can I get some eggs? And by the way, I had a dream last night. You know, he's knocking. He's like a nudge. He's like a nudnik every single day. He's coming with another dream. And Rabbi Ishmael's going, you slime ball. You're a slime ball. Why does he want, you know? Okay? So anyway, so he says he's cohabited with his sister. Amar lei, he's coming back for more. Yeah. Okay? Chazai de nishki sihara, I saw that I kissed the moon. He replied to him, Baal Ashes Israel. He has evidently cohabited with the wife of another Jew. Okay? Because the moon, which receives the light of the sun and waxes and wanes throughout the month, is generally associated with femininity. Because the moon is the women's cycle is after the moon. Indeed, there's also scriptural precedent for the moon appearing in a dream as a symbol of a married woman. Okay, we have that also by Joseph and his dream when he represented in his dream represented his mother, Jacob's wife. Okay, they had a sun and the moon, and there were 12 stars all bowing down to me. They misinterpreted that. They thought it was his mother, his real mother, who had already passed away. But actually, it was really Bilhah, the what we call it, the maidservant who became his wife. Okay. In any case, the moon represents a person's wife. Okay.
Became his wife.
Bilhah. Well, don't forget, Yaakov Avinu had 4 wives, right? He had Leah and Rachel, right? Leah and Rachel both had maidservants. Leah and Rachel both had maidservants, who eventually became their wives. Okay? Anyways, Amarle, the Sadducees, further. He's not done yet, Rabbi. He said to him, Chazai, de darichna betuna da'asa. I saw in my dream that I treaded in the shadow of a myrtle. So Rabbi Yishmael said to him, Bo al Nara Amu'ursa. He has evidently cohabited with a betrothed Nara. Okay? There's a long note here about a betrothed Nara, but we won't go into the connection there. Okay? Because the myrtle in the dream is a bridal canopy, and obviously it connected to a bridal canopy. In other words, this woman was supposed to be under the chuppah with someone else, and you went ahead and lived with her. Okay? Next page. He then said to Rabbi Yishmael, Chazai tuna mi'ilai v'hu mitatai. In my dream I saw the shadow above me, and yet it was below me. Rabbi Yishmael replied to him, Mishkavcha chafuch. Right? Your bed had been reversed, meaning your act of intercourse with that maiden was performed in a reverse fashion. Okay? So in any case, like who was on top? Okay? The Sadducee then said to him, Chazai orave dahadre lepuria. I saw that ravens were surrounding my bed. Rabbi Yishmael replied to him, your wife has had tersts with many men. Okay? Tersts. What does that mean? Trysts? Thank you. I didn't know how to pronounce that. Zansa. She did znus. Now there's your wife fooling around, boy.
He's doing his share.
All these ravens, right? He's doing everybody's, right? Ravens were surrounding my bed. Obviously, the ravens are other men. Surrounding the bed is where the wife is. So there's what's going on. The raven, by the way, is an interesting... does it have a note here? No. Ravens are interesting because you're going to love this one, okay? When Noah was in the ark, and the ark finally rested, and he opened the window, and he wanted to know if there's dry land, right? It's still water, a lot of water. You can only see water. But the boat got stuck, right, on the mountain. It's not moving anywhere. But he wanted to know if there's dry land. So he sent out the raven first. What did the raven do? Raven just flew around. It didn't leave. It didn't go on a mission. It didn't go seek anything. And they said, why? Why did it just fly around? Because it was jealous, thinking that if he goes, Noah is going to live with his wife, with the raven's wife. Don't ask. Don't ask. Okay? He suspected. What a headspace. It's like, whatever. Noah's like, whatever. Okay? The dreams that people fabricate, the things that people fabricate is quite amazing, isn't it? Okay? The Sadducees said to them, Chazai yonei da'hadarai lepuria. In my dream I saw that doves were surrounding my bed. Rabbi Yishmael replied to him, you have defiled many women, as we've seen. I'm assuming this is the same guy.
The woman gets the raven and the man gets the dove.
That makes sense.
It's a metaphor for women, a lot of women.
A metaphor for man.
Okay, now usually most birds are a good sign in a dream. For obviously I think Rabbi Yishmael is just going after this guy. Okay, he's got something against this guy. The Sadducees said to him, Chazai de nakit treyone. I saw that I held two doves, and yet they were flying away. So Rabbi Yishmael said to him, this indicates that you have married two wives, and you terminated your relationship with each without giving them a bill of divorce. They just flew away and no bill of divorce. Okay? Right? Right? Because you have to give a get. The imagery of the dream in which the Sadducee held the doves while they were flying suggests that in one sense his wives were still bound to him, while in another sense they were free of him. Rabbi Yishmael interpreted this to mean that the Sadducee had abandoned his wives but did not legally sever his bond of marriage with them. By contrast, an earlier dream related that Rava depicted two doves flying freely. That is, they were not being held back at all. In that dream, Bar Hedia told him that he would legitimately divorce two wives. Okay? So you just have to know, if you're still holding on to it, that means there's still a connection. Once again, the Sadducee further said to him, Chazai de Kalifna boy. I saw in my eggs that I was peeling eggs. I saw in a dream I was peeling eggs. What could be harmful about peeling eggs? Okay, you can hardly wait, can't you?
Yeah.
He replied to him, you have stripped corpses. Okay? The egg symbolizes the dead because being perfectly oval and smooth has no opening or mouth. Like it's what they do with mourners. They give the mourners food is either eggs or lentils because they have no mouth.
He stripped the corpse.
Okay, yeah, stripped corpses. That means he like grave robbed. Okay.
You know, I've had dreams about peeling eggs, and I've never grave robbed.
Yeah. Okay.
So
That
she
you know
says-
of.
so
You
she
see, you.
says-
I. There was a
That she
time
knows.
where you were paying your respects to this corpse that was lying there, and there was a golf club, and it was your 9-iron, and you took it out. Okay, just kidding. It could be stripping a corpse. Here, let me see. Shachve ka mishalachta. Shachve ka mishalacht. I don't think it means stripping, okay? Mishalacht means you sent. Like, you sent dead. Okay, that's what it literally means. I don't know how stripping a corpse would literally get into that, okay? The stripping of a corpse. The dead, but here peeling the egg,
You're taking off something that belongs.
you could interpret it very positively, though, because
I thought
you could.
eggs were positive. It's the first time I've ever read that.
Eggs is always
were negative.
classically
They
as
were always-
mourner's food. Now it could be that here Rabbi Ishmael knows this guy, and he's a
It's
good
the
for
birth
nothing.
And life in the beginning.
Okay, that like I said, listen. There are three types of dreams that we learned before. One is it's an unopened letter. It could have some function to it, some interpretation, and it could not. It depends if it's interpreted. Okay, it's like an unopened letter. There is some dreams which have a special significant message, and they can be interpreted this way, and then you can actually interpret it another way and dislodge the original interpretation, but it does have some portent. And then there's the third type of dream, which is like Yosef, which is an absolutely prophetic, and you cannot uproot it. Okay? So these dreams could be, this is a dream that goes both ways, and of course it's a symbol of life, and you're peeling the shell off of life, and you're going to come to your potential, and we can go into like all that California kind of stuff, right? And he knows this guy. How many dreams has he? So he obviously this guy's a low life, So he's going to go this way. It's not necessarily every time you see peeled eggs in a dream it means this. Okay. So the Sadducee then said to Rabbi Shmuel, all of these wrongs that you have imputed to me, I am indeed guilty of. He finally admits. Except, right? For this last one, which I have not committed. Okay? Interesting. The Gemara relates, however, that the Sadducees' protestation of innocence in the matter was actually not true. Let's see. Meanwhile, a certain woman came and said to the Sadducee, this cloak that garbs you, it belongs to a certain man who died, and you stripped it from him. Thus, Rabbi Ishmael's interpretation was shown to be true. Okay? So how come he didn't understand it? Why? If he admitted to all this terrible stuff, what was the thing about taking the cloak of a dead person? I mean, that's like, the guy was dead. He's dead anyways. Waste not, want not. Right? By the way, if anybody dies, let's say, it does happen, right? It's the way of the world, right? And usually people, the relatives are going to give away the clothes, right? They have clothes, T-shirts, whatever, right? Suits. I got a Giorgio Armani, come on, right? 42 regular. It's your size. Come get it. You're allowed to take it, except shoes. The minhag, the custom is never to take shoes from somebody who is deceased. Never. Yes, because there's a lot of things about shoes. A lot of mystery. The main thing of shoes would be simply a kiyum. Kiyum, which means like an existence. Right? An existence because the feet carry you into the future. You need shoes. Shoes are a very noble thing. Okay? And so your shoes are your vehicles that carry you into the future. That's why the Zohar brings down, if you ever have in a dream, they don't bring this down here, but the Zohar says, if in a dream somebody comes and takes away your shoes, that is not a good sign. Okay? But if he gives you something, that's a good sign. But if he takes something away, it's not so bad, but if he takes away shoes, that's bad. Okay? The tribes, the 10 tribes, when they sold Joseph, you probably don't know this, they sold Joseph for 5 shekels. What did they do with the money? There was a sale at Payless. I'm in. They went and bought a pair of shoes. Of all the things to buy. Like, let's go to the bar and grill. Okay? It's kosher. Okay? Well, no. They got a pair of shoes. Their pair of shoes was a symbol of their existence. Their continued existence. That they're going to continue on. Okay?
So that's why there is the chalitza.
A lot of that. Yes. Yes, the chalitza also. The chalitza is like the anchor. Removing the shoe, which means that the soul that needs to come in through this woman. You know what chalitza is? There's something called a levirate marriage. Levirate marriage is where the brother dies and leaves no children. It's a mitzvah for the surviving brother to marry the widow and have children. Now, the way it goes is that the brother who passed away, who left no children, right? He's stuck, okay? Because you always got to leave someone behind, okay? And he's stuck, and basically he is connected to that woman, to his ex-wife, okay? Because there is a surviving brother. So this surviving brother, if he marries that woman and has a child, that child is the brother who's deceased. It is the same soul. As a matter of fact, you give him the same name. At the breakfast table, it's a weird scene at the breakfast table.
Yeah.
Little Johnny, and everybody knows who's who.
Yeah, and the chalitza
Little
is-
Johnny, was my, his mother's wife, and your brother is now your dad, right? And your dad knows that that's my brother, and the mother knows that that's my ex-husband who died. And everybody's looking at the breakfast table, and everybody knows what's going on. Okay?
What does he do with the shoe? He takes.
Oh,
the
so
shoe-
now, I'm sorry, that's if they go along with what's called the yibum or the levirate marriage. If they don't go along, they do what's called chalitza. Nowadays, everything, it's always chalitza. Okay? Because nobody knows how to do this yibum stuff. It's not just a simple marriage job. You're like bringing this soul into the world. You got to do it right with the right kavanas of the mitzvahs. If you don't have the right kavana, it's not good. They equate it. The Gemara says actually it's like you brought a mamzer into the world because the kid's going to get messed up. In any case, so we do chalitza now. Chalitza is a special ceremony where the widow, right, puts this special shoe on, right, and the brother comes and he removes the brother has a shoe on. She doesn't have a shoe on. The brother has a special shoe on. She removes the shoe and she hacks a longer. She has to spit, right? She spits, right? She has to hack a longer. Okay, sorry about that vulgar phraseology. Sorry, she has to spit. Okay, and then she has to say, this should be for the person who doesn't want to bring his brother into the world. And that will sever the invisible bond of that soul that's hovering over and stuck, attached, right? And therefore now that soul is released and has to go and find another place to go ahead and come back into the world. And then she's free to marry someone else. She doesn't have to marry that brother anymore. It's like a get. It's like a divorce.
Yeah,
in a different way, a different kind of ceremony, different kind of divorce.
So if she decides she doesn't want him, or if he decides,
It can be both. If the guy's a disgusting, person, right, with all kinds of boils with pus oozing out, he's something not on the attractive side, right? Let's say she does not. We do not force her to marry him. Okay. So it's mutual. Okay. How do we get onto that? The shoe. Okay, so shoes are very significant. The shoe represents the existence. So she removing the shoe is like removing that encasement or potential encasement for that soul to come into this world. He's gone. He's free. Okay? All right. Going on. Okay? Now I don't even know where I am. Okay. So he got busted for actually taking a cloak from a dead person. That's how we got onto this. If ever somebody invites you to take clothes, a Giorgio Armani suit, size 42 regular, perfect, it would fit you, come get it. It's an $800 suit, come on, right? You could take the suit, don't take the shoes. Oh, look at those shoes, man, right? Well, I don't know what's the high-end shoes these days, but whatever it is. It's not Tom McCann's, okay? In any case, the Sadducee, and definitely not Payless. The Sadducee resumes, Payless doesn't even exist anymore, right? The Sadducee resumes recounting his dreams to Rabbi Yishmael. They got some kind of thing going on. This Sadducee and Rabbi Yishmael. The Sadducee then said to Rabbi Yishmael, in my dream I saw them saying to me, Shavach lak avuch nichsei bekapundaya. Your father has left you property in Kapundia. Okay, Rabbi Yishmael said to him, do you indeed have property in Kapundia? How do I pronounce it right? Cappadocia. Cappadocia. Sorry, it's in Turkey.
Yeah.
Cappadocia. It's not Italy. The Sadducee. I lie these places. Sorry. The Sadducee replied to them, no, I don't. Rabbi Shmuel then asked him, did your father go to Cappadocia before his death? Did he perhaps die in that land? He replied to him, no, my father did not go there. So Rabbi Yishmael then said to him, if it is indeed so, that you know of no property of yours in that land, nor did your father die there, then we may presume that Cappadocia mentioned in your dream is a word symbol, a composite of two words, kappa and deka. Kappa, kashura. Now the word kappa means a beam, right? Daika asara, and the word deka, or daika, means 10, right? Thus, go look at the beam, which is at the head of 10. What does that mean? The beam in the wall of your house that stands atop 9 others. You have to go look at the 10th beam. Check out the 10th beam. Okay? For it is full of zuzim, money. There's a stash. The Gemara relates that this prediction was indeed found to be true. The Sadducee went and he found that the beam was full of zuzim. Okay, man. I says, come on,
He's
man.
being rewarded for all these
I
things
know, he's a
that-
low life, and here he's doing all this, and I got, listen, we know. God gives reward to the wicked people in this world. Because there's nothing for them in the next world. In the next world, they think they got something coming. They got nothing. Okay? They use it all up. God gives them all the credit, the beauty, the glory, riches, everything. Take it all, because next world, you ain't going there. Okay? So here, going on. On the basis of scriptural connections, the Gemara clarifies the symbolic import of various dream visions. Okay? And this is a classic one, and these hold to today. Okay? Haroeh be'er b'chalom. If one sees a well in a dream, beholds peace for himself. Okay? Really, there's 3 dreams. We're going to get to it. Okay? Okay, so the idea here is, because it says, V'yachperu avdei Yitzhak b'nachal, and the servants of Yitzhak dug in the valley, V'yimtzu sham be'er mayim, and they found there a well of flowing water. Okay, so if they find there a well of flowing water, right? So look at the note 23. That's with Yitzchak, and he had the whole incident with the people of Gerar. Although the subsequent verses relate that the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with Yitzchak's men over this, and another subsequently dug well, ultimately the Torah records that Isaac dug a well that went uncontested by the herdsmen of Gerar. In other words, there was a well that was eventually dug that was peace. In other words, there was no more fighting. You know, you dig a well, that's a source of water. In those places, it's our water. Everybody's got to fight over it. It still fights over anything. If you dig up, Israel found a huge reservoir of gas, right? underneath the ground towards the northern part of Israel, offshore, I believe, but I'm not sure.
Of Lebanon.
Right? And they go, it's ours. It's ours. It's going underneath. It's ours, right? So, doesn't matter. The idea here is at the end, there was peace. Okay, so a well equals peace. Okay? Peace is a big thing. Rabbi Nassan says, one who sees a well in a dream, matzah Torah, has found Torah for himself, right? He will achieve greatness in Torah scholarship. For in reference to Torah study, it is written, Ki motza matzah ma'echayim, the one who finds it, one who finds me, motzai, the one who finds me finds life. Okay? So this is finding, the verse refers to finding God through the study of his Torah. We learn Torah in order to see God. Okay? So if you find me, you found life. So therefore it's Torah. And here with reference to a well, it is written also Be'er Mayim Chaim, a well flowing, literally living water. This establishes an association between Torah and symbol of a well. Okay, a third interpretation of the symbol of a well. Chaim Mamash. Rava said the vision of a well in a dream symbolizes actual life. Okay? Interesting. Rava was the one who actually was going to Bar Hedia, right? Mm-hmm. Whose life went... Okay? Rava does not employ here the previously mentioned link between Torah and life. Hence he sees the phrase of a well of living water as established really actually connection between actual physical life and a well. So it's not Torah, it's physical life. Okay? So whether it's peace, Torah, or physical life, it's a good sign in a dream. Okay? A river is also, as we're going to see shortly here. Having mentioned the vision of a well may portend peace, the Gemara recounts other visions that can have a similar import. Amar Rabbi Chanan, says Rabbi Chanan, Shalosh Shlomothem, there are 3 dream visions that foretell peace, and these are Nahar Tzipor Ukdeira, a river, a bird, and a kettle. Okay? The whole guy, someone wrote an entire book on that, called The River, the Kettle, and the Bird. A kettle.
Like a black kettle?
A black kettle.
Okay, well,
A pot.
I wasn't sure
If you see a pot in a dream, that is a very good sign.
Is the river and ocean the same?
No.
Just
Not sure.
a body of water?
River. Okay? Let me see here. Okay, he doesn't bring out any note here. Why the river? I forgot. What's flowing with life, obviously, a river. Okay? And a river is what rivers do is rivers, there used to be transport for bringing goods up the river, down the river, right? So it symbolizes connection. Okay?
And they flow to the sea. That's the connection too.
Oh, that's also a connection. But usually most people would use a river for a way to travel and move goods.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mississippi River.
The bird, I don't remember the bird, but I remember the pot. A pot is really cool because a pot really gives us a real idea of peace. Okay, a real good definition of peace. How does a pot symbolize peace?
What that has to do with?
Because really what happens is when you have elements such as fire and water, they really don't go together. Fire and water really don't mix, would you say? If one dominates the other, right? If there's more water than fire, the water squelches the fire. If there's more fire than water, the fire dries up the water, right? So really, fire and water really don't get. Shh! I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to explain it to you so simply, so simple, right? What does that have to do with a pot, Rabbi? It's such a good question. It's because what you want to do is you want to heat up water. So you need fire to heat up water, but fire and water don't mix. So here you introduce the pot, new invention. The pot knows, right? The pot can do wonders because the pot brings fire and water together. That something can come new, something useful, a soup, a cholent. You make something out of it. In other words, it puts fire and water together in harmony that something can come out of it. That's why a pot is the symbol of peace. Make sense? Okay?
The agent.
It's an agent, but it puts now it enables the elements of fire and the elements of water to be together, okay? To create something, okay? I forgot the bird. It's just not coming to me. I remember. I mean,
the dove is a sign of peace.
Yes, it is, but it doesn't say specifically. It could be any bird. It could be any bird.
Master of
Here it says
Legions.
about protecting, like flying birds, so will Hashem, Master of Legions, protect.
Okay.
That's the middle of the paragraph.
I was thinking more also because they just
Is there
they are
a-
well, they're free. They have freedom.
Mhm.
Freedom of movement. Actually, in the fifth day of creation, if we look at it, the fifth day of creation was the first creation that had absolute free-flowing movement. Fish and birds were created on the fifth day. Animals were not created till the sixth day of creation. The fifth day of creation was this free-flowing nature of birds. Okay, I don't know really how that's peace. Okay, because peace is usually when two opposite elements can coexist together. Okay, not sure how that
But
works.
like a dove is a symbol of peace.
Yes, classically,
No assent.
classically, but it doesn't have to be a dove that you see in a dream. It could be any bird.
The note down here says salvation will come as speedily as flying birds.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
So that means that fish are also good in it.
Okay, he's going to bring verses. What am I doing? I'm trying to get ahead of it. Okay, here, look. A river portends peace because it writes in a verse. Hinini note eleha kanahar shalom. Behold, I will extend peace to her like a river. Okay? How does a river extend peace? So I would say, like, because it brings people together. Okay? Tzipor. The vision of a bird has a similar meaning because it writes, Kitziparim ofot kain yagain Hashem tzavakot, like flying birds, so will Hashem, Master of Legions, protect Jerusalem. Okay? Right? Salvation will come speedily as flying birds, like what Ann said. A kettle likewise portends to peace because it says, Hashem tishpot shalom lano. Hashem set peace for us, which means what? Tishpot literally means to set a kettle on a fire, right? So thus the connection is established between kettle and peace. Okay, but the understanding is more like here, like what I wrote here. I think this is the note down here. It's the connection, okay, of water and fire. The last teaching is qualified. Ubikidera she'ein ba basar shaninu. Sorry, it can't just be any pot that means peace. It has to be what? Respect to a kettle that has no meat inside it. Okay? For concerning a kettle that does have meat inside it is written, and you have sliced them like that which is in a pot and like meat in a cauldron. Okay? Which basically means what? The prophet speaks metaphorically of the aristocracy of Israel, chastising them for brutally oppressing the masses. The verse uses the particular imagery of meat in a pot to describe the ravages dealt to the poor. Hence, meat in a kettle is deemed an inauspicious symbol, not a good sign. Meat in a pot. Okay? The Gemara now relates a number of dream visions that have dual scriptural associations. You got to have like a little card on hand if this ever happens to you, because it's going to bring a verse, and you got to say this verse before you think of this verse, okay, as we're going to see right now, okay, because don't forget, it can go this way, and it can go that way. So you want it to go this way. You don't want it to go that way. And it depends upon you and how good you are, okay, at dodging.
Can we write on this? Or?
Yeah, that's yours,
Okay.
okay? In line with the principle that the realization of a dream follows the mouth, the Gemara suggests that should one see any of these dreams in a dream, he ought recite to himself the favorable verse so as to impute the dream an auspicious meaning. Okay? Like we learned before. The Gemara begins its discussion with the visions of the river, the bird, and the kettle mentioned above. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said, Haroi Na'ar, the one who sees a river in a dream, should arise and recite the following verse. Hine noteh elecha kenar shalom. Behold, I will extend peace to her, to Jerusalem, like a river. Before another verse comes to his mind first, which means ki yavo kenahar tsar, for travail, troubles, shall come like a river. In other words, there's another verse. There's this other verse that's in Isaiah that speaks about a river not being so good. So, of course, if you're well-versed in Nach, in the prophets, if you're well-versed, you got to know the positive verse before the negative comes into your mind. Okay? So you got to be a master of like hopping the positive, because once it comes into your mind, a person will get snagged. Don't worry, there's a way out. I'm going to bring you in a couple of weeks when we finish these, that if a person has a dream that they don't feel good about, they can go in front of a court, 3 men, and they can do a certain ceremony, and the 3 men act as a court, and they can nullify any effect of the dream. It's done all the time. It used to be done all the time in Israel, in Jerusalem. I got to the house of study, there's a lady there freaked out, and all of a sudden you see these 3 guys just sit there and go, we nullify, it's nullified, it's nullified. Mutter lach, mutter lach, mutter lach. Go home. Right? And then I feel better. Okay? So, because when the Beis Din decides here, the Beis Din Shalmala, the Beis Din in heaven has to agree. That's why we do it Kol Nidre. Kol Nidre, as we know, Kol Nidre on Yom Kippur, right? There's a Beis Din down here that convenes and saying everything's on accident. Nothing was done on purpose. Everybody's is forgiven. And just like the Beis Din down here says it, Beis Din up there has to agree. Once the Torah was given, Nekudah, that's it. Okay? Continuing, one who sees a bird in a dream, he should rise and recite what? Like flying birds, so will Hashem, Master of Legions, protect. Before another verse, a negative portent comes to his mind. Ketzipor nodedes min kinan, like a bird that wanders from her nest. So is like a man that wanders from his place, of wandering. So you want to have the peaceful, the nice verse instead of the not so nice verse. Okay? One who sees a kettle in a dream should arise and recite. You have to recite it now. Interesting thing was before, if you see a river, it says you should recite the verse. Right? Before another verse comes to his mind first. That's really interesting. Okay?
So you set the positive before you do the negative.
You have to make sure, yes. Recite the positive before the negative. Because don't forget, a lot of our creational potential, all of our creational potential is in our mouths. That's why it says dreams go after the mouth. It doesn't go after the thoughts of the mind. It goes after the mouth. Because the mouth is abracadabra, as we know. You've heard of abracadabra before? What does abracadabra mean usually? Magic, right? But really it comes from 2 Aramaic words. It comes from 2 Aramaic words meaning ebara kedibara. I will create as the word. Dibor is word. Ebara, ani bore. I am creating. Kedibore, like I speak. That's where abracadabra comes from. All the hocus pocus guys stole it from the Jews. Okay? So there. Okay? But we meant it because we understand the power of the mouth. Okay? It has a lot of huge potential. It's in my book about how our mouths create angels, that the words that we do creates forces. Okay? Very powerful. So here we are where? One who sees a kettle in a dream, he should rise and recite the following verse. Hashem said peace for us. Before another verse of negative portent comes to his mind first, set the pot, set it. Okay? Don't know what that's referring to. In this, as well as the ensuing verses, the prophet evokes the metaphor of a simmering pot on a stove to describe the horrors of a siege that will befall Jerusalem. In other words, put the positive verse before the negative verse, okay? You got to know your verses, okay? The Gemara introduces some other symbols having both favorable and unfavorable associations. If one sees grapes in a dream, how harmful could grapes be, right? He should arise and say, I found Israel like grapes in the desert, before another verse comes to his mind first, which is their grapes are grapes of gall. It's like poison, like bitter, okay? One who sees a mountain in a dream should arise and recite, how pleasant are the footsteps of the herald upon the mountains. Before another verse comes to his mind, Al haharim esar b'chi v'nehi. For the destruction of the mountains I will raise my voice in weeping and wailing, a negative connotation. One who sees a shofar in a dream should arise and recite the following verse. It shall be on that day that a great shofar will be blown, right? Before another verse comes of ill portent, which is Tik'u shofar begiv'ah, sound a shofar in giv'ah. Okay? Marauding troops that were destined to overrun Israel and Yehuda. Okay? It was a bad thing. One who sees a dog in a dream should arise and recite the following verse. But ulachol b'nei Israel lo yecheratz kelev l'shono. But against the children of Israel, no dog shall wet its tongue. That was when we left Egypt. By the way, no barking dogs. Right? By the way, for real good stuff. Right? I need to test it out once. It's one of those I have to. One of these days in my dreams, I'll do a Torah Mythbusters. It is supposed to be a segula that if a person is being attacked by a dog, to say this verse and the dog will go away. And of course, they always bring the story of a guy who did it and the dog went away. Okay, but I have yet to see that. Okay, but nevertheless, it is known to be this is the verse that you do recite if dogs are coming to attack you.
I need one of those.
The dogs should never, because the dogs,
Me and dogs are
we as a hakaras atov, right? They did not bark on the night whether we left Egypt, because here you're all leaving in the middle of the night. Everybody's going around, there's dogs everywhere, neighbors' yards, and yet here you're walking about here and there because you're collecting all the jewelry from everybody and getting ready to leave. You figure there'd be dogs barking everywhere. Quiet, okay? Before this other verse comes to mind, and the dogs are greedy. Okay, the dogs are greedy actually refers to, here the verse compares the corrupt aristocracy of Israel to dogs, concerning only filling their own stomachs, because they say that the dogs, what do they say? What do dogs say? Dogs speak. That's right, dogs say hav hav. That's the language of the dogs. Hav hav in Hebrew means give give. Now, it goes against what most people do think about dogs, because dogs are kelev and they're kol leiv, they're all heart. Okay, they give everything for their masters. But meanwhile, it's known also in Chazal that there's this element of greediness that dogs, because so you have to be careful, because dogs will keep eating. All right, they don't have that mechanism, right?
Yeah.
They'll keep eating till they die. Okay, they'll overstuff themselves.
Not all, but the
Tendency, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
One who sees a lion in a dream should arise and say, a lion has roared. Who will not fear? Before another verse comes to his mind, the lion has left its den. Okay, the lion left its den. Right, Babylonian, that is likened to a lion. Its leaving the den refers allegorically to its setting out on a road of conquest that will bring it to Jerusalem. Okay, in other words, a bad connotation. Okay, let's just do one more. The one who sees the act of shaving in a dream, how bad can that be? That's only if you didn't see a Gillette commercial. Should arise and he say, V'galach v'chalev sim losav, and he shaved and changed his clothes. Okay, that refers to Joseph before he went and stood in front of Paro, and he got out of jail. Right, before another verse comes and says to him, Ki'im gulachti v'sar mimeni kochi. If I would be shaven, my strength would leave me. I think that refers to our famous character Samson. If you cut my hair, all my strength is gone. So if a person has this dream, he has to make sure he goes to the positive one and go to the negative one. And if you're ever dreaming and you get stuck, so give me a call and we'll find you the right verse. Okay? We'll stop here. Okay? Let me mark this.